Hey, so going to talk about programming and what we believe about ourselves after being with a narcissist, or if you've grown up with narcissistic parents or had an upbringing where you had a lot of narcissistic or toxic people around you telling you what to believe about yourself and how to change that a little bit. Okay. Um, Before we start, I'm Lise Colucci and I'm one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com. If you don't know who I am, check out the information in the main description of every video. We have links there as well for coaching and group coaching if that's needed. So check it out, hit subscribe here, thumbs up, and let's get started talking. And I realized I didn't do I did a really fast announcement, so I don't expect a lot of people to be in yet. So as you come in, we'll just catch up with uh, the chat. So programming. So when you have been exposed to, raised by, and continually gaslit by someone who is manipulating you, no matter what we call them, okay? Um, Someone who is a manipulative person who is toxic in the way they treat others, you start to get ideas about yourself that are not your own beliefs about yourself. What they are is conditioning and programming that's been put in your head to believe you are a certain thing in order to keep you in a certain role that a narcissist or a toxic person needs you in order to support the delusion they have about the life that they believe is what's real. Okay? So they need you in a role. They fill your head with information about who you are, the things you do. You're too sensitive. You don't make good decisions. You can't be trusted. All the things they tell you, it gets up in our head. They get in our head, okay? And then once those thoughts are in your head, it's like programming. It's conditioning to believe that they're true. So, this is super common. I hear this a lot from people when I so here's something that I experience with people in coaching them. People will ask often when they're trauma bonded, okay? People will come to me a lot when they're trauma bonded and when they're in the middle of the discard, a middle of trying to leave, trying to stay away, trying to end things themselves, whatever it is. And they'll be like, "Why can't I let go? Why can't I just end things? Why can't I walk away? Why can't I know what they are. I can see what they're doing. They're not the good person I thought they were. They're not who I thought they were. Why can't I let go?" So we know about trauma bonding, right? We can go back and watch the videos about that if you don't know what that is, or if you're struggling. I have tons of videos about that. So there's that piece. Okay, yes. There's another piece though, and that's us. That is what we believe about ourselves, what we need from the relationship, what we think we're getting from that other person, what we fear, the reason we can't let go. So often with people, it'll happen that we'll talk and we'll start to uncover these rooted beliefs that often come from their upbringing. Often, not always. Okay, when they had toxic parents, or if you had a very strict dynamic with your parents, or if you had fear of your parents, it doesn't have to. They don't have to have been narcissists per se. We can't diagnose anyone. We're just gonna be real general here and say when you've had an upbringing that didn't allow you to learn to think for yourself about yourself. In other words, you're told over and over again, well, you just make the stupidest decisions, don't you? Or, well, I'm always having to clean up your messes. And when you're raised without belief in yourself, and through toxic upbringing, beliefs form. Okay, and those beliefs sometimes are the thing that is holding you to the narcissist now, and it can take a while to uncover and get to what they are. And I don't even know how to describe what happens, but there is some magic in the talking that often brings it out and brings it forth for people. So for yourself, ask yourself the questions. Why am I holding on? What is it I'm afraid of? Maybe it's not fear. What am I actually feeling? Why can't I let go? It Stop making it about the toxic person and make it about yourself, and see if any answers come. Sometimes then you'll get to the root of your programming, your conditioning of what you believe about yourself. What I see in when I see and know of children or adults and young adults, especially because they're still forming who they are, right? When you see it in people who have to parallel parent, and you hear the stories of the things their children struggle with, um, you will see this forming. You'll see these beliefs forming. You'll see that the narcissist doesn't allow, or the toxic person, whatever, doesn't allow the child to have a belief system of their own about themselves. They're being told who they are. They're being instructed on what to think about themselves. Does that make sense? If you've lived through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, and I realize there's not a lot of people in here. So if you have anything to say, just hit me up in the chat. We can go off topic too. It's fine. I'm just gonna keep going though. So okay, so when you see a child being raised like that, you can see the makings of this. Okay, you can see the makings of someone that is believing something about themselves to please a toxic parent. Not consciously, it's subconsciously, and they're imagine that you're coming up as a child and you're not on purpose like, "Oh, this will make mom happy." Maybe a little bit, but not, "This is going to change my psyche forever." You don't know, right? You're just doing what's natural, what's safe, and what is self-preserving, and what is survival. Okay? So when you're growing up in this survival mindset, and the only survival mindset is to believe the things they say about you is who you are, then you believe that's who you are. Okay. And we go through life with these beliefs about who we are, and they're often these negative things. If it's from a toxic person, even the golden child will have negative self-beliefs, because the narcissist can only control you through fear and threats. They can't control you through the good things. The good things are breadcrumbs to keep you there when they give you the fear and threats, right? So you'll be learning all these things about yourself that are not true. Or there may be, and here's the thing, often there's pieces of them that are true. Say you are a person that notoriously makes bad decisions, okay? You just have that kind of common sense where it's a little difficult. You see the good in everything, and so you bring home, the things that you shouldn't bring home. You step into relationships you shouldn't step into. You struggle, you stay in jobs that aren't good for you because you see that anything can be made better. You're kind of that kind of person. Instead of learning that you're the type of person that sees the good in things, and so you need to be taught how to be careful and to be choosing, and that you don't have to go through the worst case scenarios in order to prove the good in things, and not everything is worth having the good proven. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of being taught that, you're being taught you make bad decisions. All that other stuff's overlooked. And so the belief in your head is, I make bad decisions. So then the rest of your life, you might be trying to prove to the world, to the narcissistic parent, to whatever, that you don't make bad decisions by jumping into bad decisions and trying to fix them. That's why it's important to understand these beliefs that are programmed into our head. Um, Again, this is something that is best really through individual talking with someone, but that understands how to work this kind of thing. But it's a topic we can kind of open up and talk about here a little bit if anyone wants to, because I think it's important if you can learn those things without self-judgment. Oh my gosh, I was taught to believe that instead of I am that. You know what I mean? Like, if I was taught to believe that, if I was taught to believe that, that means I can teach myself to believe something else. And that's what we're going to talk about in a second. I'm going to read what you guys are saying here, and then I'm going to talk about that if I remember. Okay. My children suffer from 7 years of parental alienation. I see their suffering now because made to believe I was a bad parent. Right. And what they are taught about themselves in that isn't just it's more, right? It's more because they had their own uh piece. They had to be taught that you're a bad parent, but then they had to be taught something about themselves that allowed them to choose to alienate, not choose to be conditioned to, right? And so it's very messy. I've pretty well changed their story for myself. Excellent. This is UNA. But once in a while, I slip back. Then I stay there for a while and have to choose to alter it to the actual truth. Yes. And that is the course of our life when we for every person, okay, every human being has been taught something about themselves that isn't true. It is just natural. You can't go through parenting and not do a little bit of this, okay? Because we're humans, we make mistakes. It's very you can't live your life for other people, so sometimes it happens, right? Like we teach but if you're taught a curious mindset and you're taught a that you're supported, that you're loved, that you matter, that you do have a mind in your head and you can make decisions and you if you're taught the confidence that it takes to be a healthy adult, then the little bit of programming that gets in there is a lot less damaging, right? When you have all that programming that teaches us the conditioning that teaches us these negative things about ourselves, and we're taught we don't matter. We're taught we're insignificant. We're taught to be quiet. We're taught to stuff it down. We're taught not to speak about it. We're taught that we're too dramatic. We are the problem. If we don't do this, we're not perfect. If we're not perfect, we're not loved. All of that stuff. You're taught all that. On top of it, it's really difficult. So you're right. We have to make the choice to alter the path that we're on to the actual truth. All right. Um, get into the groove. Hello. For years, anytime I made a decision that my mother didn't approve of, she would bring up the bad boyfriend I had in my 20s as if, right? As if I could never make a good decision again. Yep. They like to use the mistakes you make to prove their point about about the conditioning they've put in your head. Why do they need you there? Because it makes you need them, right? Given which in turn gives them supply. So one decision does not define you. You know what? You may have made that bad decision and it may have been the best decision you ever made because you learned something that made you not do it again. You don't know. We make bad choices all the time. We make mistakes all the time. We learn from them. That is the nature of like living, right? That's just how it is. But we're taught, yeah, that. So how do you alter this mindset? I think I did I explain it well enough or do I need to keep going with it, you guys? What we're talking about here. And because I'd rather talk about what to do about it than keep going on and on about the bad things that have happened, right? Um, so okay, I'm gonna move on. And if there's any questions, ask. How do you fix this stuff, right? How do you get through the conditioning that's been planted in your head when you really feels like it really feels real to you. It really feels true. It feels like a belief. And a beliefs we think of our beliefs as set in stone, but they're really not. Okay. You can have a belief in an instant by having something happen, something shocking. If you have something shocking happen, forever forward, you will believe that is what's going to happen if you do the thing, right? That's the nature of trauma. Okay, something shocking happens, and then anything that resembles it reinforces the shock. And then the trauma sets and becomes PTSD. Okay. But it becomes complex PTSD, right? But if you can shock yourself into a more positive belief, the same thing can hold true. All right. And it doesn't have to be scary shocking. I don't mean like shocking. I just mean important, something that makes an impression on you, that makes a difference. So that and then we have to actively seek, because see, the bad things happening because they're shocking, we don't need to actively seek them. Right. So if you have something that sets a belief in you that is like terrible, and then a year later, somebody does the same thing, and you're like, "Oh, I guess it's true." You don't have to think, "I guess it's true." It automatically, because of the shocking nature, signals back to that memory of that first shocking, horrible thing, right? And then you can see it, and then you start thinking about it, and then you actively participate in it, and then it perpetuates into a belief, right? That gets really stuck in our heads. So, but with the positives, unfortunately, you can have a really positive experience of yourself, and you may not remember, you may not catch the little things that reinforce that positive thing. So we have to actively be looking for them. We don't have to. It's beneficial to actively be looking for the positive things. So if you see something in yourself like, I am a failure, but you have a major success or even a minor success, you have a success enough for you to go, whoa, I did that thing and that was awesome. Okay, cool. I guess I'm not such a loser or whatever you think about yourself, right? And then you forget about it a week later because you're not actively looking for minor successes. I mean, it can be a matter of, oh my gosh, I got everything done on my to-do list. Oh, look, I succeeded at this. Oh, I made a friend smile. That's awesome. That's a success. Whatever it is that to you feels like success, if you tie them together intentionally, you start to change your belief. You're still going to have that horrible negative counter belief there that you're trying to get rid of. And you're overriding it with new neural pathways over time to change it to something more true, as UNA put, more like the actual truth. Okay. Let's see. What are we saying here? Hello, Savannah. A boyfriend I had at 18 was physically abusive and I covered it up. And now at 22, I've been with my partner 4 years, and she says that if he physically was abusing me, I wouldn't tell anyone. Which, wait, if he if he physically was abusing me and I wouldn't tell anyone, which that does, oh, I think it missed something. That doesn't happen, but she's trying to split us up. Hi, Belle. I don't understand that. I think I missed something there. Did I read that wrong? Who's she? Could you reword that last part? Because I think I'm missing something there. I want to understand it. Okay. For me, it was a series of things, as UNA, that freed me from the mental jar of toxic people. Yes, that's what I was getting at. It's a series of things, right? A series of things that helps you recondition yourself into different and new and more positive beliefs. You have to want it. Unfortunately, it doesn't just happen for most of us. You got to want it, you got to seek it out. Oh, your mom is a narcissist. Okay. Oh, you were replying to someone else. Okay. Sorry. I read the chat, I jump in, and yeah, you'll see me and Angie always like at the chat. Love it. And also really hard to follow when you're talking and then you have to like change your train of thought and then you come back here and then you're back over here. It's like it's crazy. Okay. People who live stream seamlessly, I wonder how do they do that? All right. So anyway, anybody have any questions about this or want to talk about this particular topic at all? Or if you have anything that you want to talk about, I will keep it short and sweet otherwise and end pretty soon. Um, so I will just wait a second and see if you do. And so I want to say it is possible. It is possible. All of this, like how do you do it? It's possible. Number one thing for the takeaway here is finding these beliefs can actually help you break the trauma bonds. They can help. They're part of the process. Okay, because if what you're doing is hanging on and you don't know why, often I hear people say this a lot. Okay, they say to me, I can't let go. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't let go. There's nothing I like about that person, but I can't let go and I don't know why. And we can keep throwing the word trauma bond at them over and over and over and over again. And all that does is throw a word on top of it, right? It's not, there's no solution in that word. It helps to understand it. Absolutely. It does help to know that it's normal, that you're having a normal reaction. But at a certain point, we got to figure out how to navigate out of it, right? And so understanding that sometimes the programming that you've gotten, that the conditioning you've received is a piece of why we're hanging on. So if I believe I'm worth nothing and I don't even realize that I believe that. Okay, but I think but for some reason I'm hanging on to this person and I go, "Oh my gosh, just my hanging on gives me a sense of meaning." I get it. It's not that I'm hanging on to them, it's that I'm hanging on to this experience because it gives me a feeling of a sense of meaning for myself, and if I have meaning, then I matter, and if I matter, then I should exist, and so if I let go of that, oh my gosh, how scary, right? But then if you think about that logically, it doesn't make any sense, but if you think about that on an emotional, level, it makes total sense. Okay, so, and Belle is saying, my opinion, the narcissist gets into your head to the point where you do not believe yourself and in yourself anymore and believe you're worth nothing. Exactly. They do. They do. And so it is very challenging to find our way out. And it is separating from them, okay? And looking at oneself, not them and their words and their beliefs, even if it's your mother, okay? That getting away from that, separating from that, individuating from that is what I'm talking about, to see your own true worth, okay? And your own truth. My god, people have said to me recently, many people have said this to me recently. They've said, I'm really freaking out and I'm a little upset that I don't know who I am. I'm like, well, that's normal. It's okay. No, like for real. If I hadn't had this experience, if I hadn't had this conditioning in my head, who would I have been? What would I have been? And we can't know that. Okay. But what we can know is that if we start moving through this and getting past it, we can become something. I think Angie and I talked about this Tuesday. You know, we can become something. So go watch that video over there with hers because we kind of talked a little bit about some of this somewhere in there. All right. You're struggling with real life, Jennifer. What's going on? You want to talk about it? Okay. Okay. I am not. You don't like to talk publicly because you're embarrassed. Totally understandable. Yeah, think how it feels sitting here. Really, no, I'm seriously, I get it. It's private, it's personal. If you need coaching, group coaching, I am available. Just check it out in the links. It's Group coaching can be done fairly anonymously. We are on Zoom. You can keep your camera off. You can use a different name if needed to keep yourself feeling more protected. I make sure that people in there, I talk to them. I don't know them obviously, but I talk to them enough to know that they're truly survivors and they are truly there for help. And we keep things confidential. So if you need it, it's there. Um, okay. You have a real reason to be concerned with physical ailments. Ugh. Can you get yourself seen by someone? You were drawn, you and they say, I wasn't drawn to them at all, more like the shame I felt for leaving. Right, right. You see, your hook was the shame. And what was that shame? What underneath the shame, what were the words? What was the belief? And if you can get there, it can really, really help you to move through it. All right. Yeah. I wanted to say one more thing. I can't remember what it was. It was about oh, it'll come to me maybe in the next couple minutes. All right. Otherwise, is there anything else, you guys? I can't see if this chat is moving. I think am I frozen? No. Okay. Okay. So what were we talking about? You figured you would try. You can try, you keep trying. So tell me, what can we help you with, Jennifer? If there is there like maybe sometimes asking a question that's general about what's going on that can help give you a tool for like what to do, or sometimes just like venting in general can help people feel a little better. Um, how much does coaching cost? It varies. Go on queenbeing.com. And if you put my name, Queen, if you just search Queen Being, Queen Beeing, and then put Lise, Lise, it'll come up and it'll show you the rates on there. And then the group coaching is because it varies depending on what you want. Okay, there's a whole lot of options for individual, but the group is $60 a month. We meet 3 times a week, and you can come to any time you want or as many as you want. I just people tend to share the time well, so I don't intervene there. I just kind of let them share the time, and sometimes they speak, sometimes they just listen. It just really depends on what people need, and you get different things from both experiences. So that's that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oops, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, and I can't mute, and the dog's gonna bark. It's the alarm to go. Anyway, come here, dog. Come here. Come outside. It's like between Angie's cat and my dog. Go outside. Go on. Go, go. There they go. It's pouring rain. And now they're gonna be muddy, but that's okay. You shush. Come here, shush. Okay, we're gonna keep one here. Sorry. Throws me. Sorry. I know. I know. Okay. All right. What are we saying here? Under that was the belief, this is you and A, I'm going back and forth between two things. Under that was the belief that I was responsible for their happiness. Hello. Yes. So you're trained to have shame, and then you're trained that it's your job to fix it. It's your job to carry the emotional weight of everybody in the world, not just them. Okay. Um, it's totally untrue. Anyone would have been sufficient. Yep. That was the hardest lesson learned. It is. It is. Yes. And here's the thing, you guys. I I said this to someone today, and I'm going to repeat it because I think it is good to hear. Okay. When you're discovering the things, my hands are doing too much. When you're discovering the things about yourself that that you're uncovering, right? So when you're discovering these beliefs you have, when you're discovering the programming and conditioning that's in your head, when you're discovering things like, oh my gosh, I was responsible for their happiness, that's what I was taught, I feel shame, I feel low self-esteem, I can't do the right thing, I don't make when you're discovering all of that, please give yourself like a year, okay, of no self-judgment. No self-judgment, because if you judge yourself for feeling those things, you're going to trap yourself back into feeling those things plus worse, okay? So try your best, whatever it takes, get some help, whatever, to witness yourself in these beliefs. You have to let them open and unfold. You have to look at them. It's like throwing your cards on the table. You got to look at them, okay? And as you're looking at them, if you start judging them, you are then condemning yourself to keep reliving them. So if you can just look at them without self-judgment, very matter of fact, oh, I believe this. Okay, got to change that belief. You're going to have emotions, of course. I'm not saying get rid of your emotions. You're going to have feelings about it, but you don't have to attach too much to the feelings. Does that make sense? You can let the feelings be there, you can feel them, and you can realize, oh, when I feel shame, it has a feeling that's icky. It has a feeling of blah 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 blah, whatever it is for you, an emotion that goes with it. When I feel like I'm not worth anything, it has all these emotions that go with it. Okay. But you don't have to judge having them. Does that make sense? You don't have to be like, and therefore I'm bad, and therefore something's wrong with me. Let go of it because it really will help speed up everything. A lot of what we do is we hold ourselves there with this judgment. And the judgment is also part of the conditioning, so it's really hard. But if you can just remember it's normal to judge, don't do it. Okay? Just let it go for a little while. Give yourself a 6-month no judgment break or a 1-month no judgment break, whatever you can do to just baby step your way through it. All right. I haven't done anything about it because I felt no one cared. Oh, honey. Um, you've had it for 9 years. Oh, yeah, I'd encourage you to care. Okay? To care about you, to give yourself a little care and or a lot of care. See yourself the way you see others. Give yourself care. I know you probably care for people or someone or an animal or something, right? Give yourself that same care and get yourself looked at, okay? Um, it's important. Our physical health fails a lot from the emotional stuff we go through. So, um, and then we get stuck there and we don't take care of ourselves. So self-care number 1, okay? Really. Um, let's see. T Red, hello. I'm responsible for the world's happiness. Well, I knew there was someone. Kidding. I'm kidding. I just laughed out loud. Looks like I'm getting better after all, right? And I just made a joke with you. I hope that it is received well. But no, of course you're not responsible for the world's happiness, right? We know this logically. It's funny, but it isn't because it's a real feeling, right? It's a true, real feeling. And it doesn't come across that simply when you're feeling it. You only catch it after you've done a bunch of actions that you're like, why'd I do that? Oh my gosh, there I go again. Being responsible for everyone else's happiness, right? But yeah, it's good. And you know what? It's also a gift. You're probably a person that can bring happiness. So that we don't want to throw that away at the same time. Here, that's the other piece is sometimes these beliefs are the flip side of a positive thing. People that are able to stand up for injustice, who get very hot-headed and reactive, get told they're too emotional and they're too reactive. Well, they just haven't learned how to that it isn't that they haven't been able to maybe express themselves in a way that's positive to protect themselves. So if they're using it as protection, it comes out one way, but then they use that same gift for other people and it comes out as something else. So that's the other piece of these beliefs. We don't need to let go of all the beliefs. We just need to let go of the negative ones that are the conditioning that isn't true. And there may be an element of truth. We may make really terrible decisions, okay? But that's not because we're stupid, okay? Or because we can't make good decisions. It may be you're just a person that makes all kinds of decisions and so the bad and the good are both there, right? Maybe you're just a decision maker and you make all kinds of decisions. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right, and you've got to be okay and learn to be more discerning so you're a little less on the edges, right? And often we get these beliefs. I'm just rambling now. Often the beliefs that are planted in our head, the conditioning, the programming, whatever you want to call it, will lead us to continue to do the thing that reinforces it. So there's that. All right. I will check out the rates in therapy. Yes, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yes, please get help. Get the self, like I said, self-care. Get yourself, start little and work yourself up with the self-care. Um, Bettina, hello. I keep thinking I have to earn my way out of a relationship. Like I keep having to give someone chances to prove everyone that the situation is toxic and I'm justified in leaving. This is a perfect don't be sorry, Jack. I am totally okay. No worries. If I gave you a schedule and you didn't show up and without telling me, that'd be even fine. Okay? And we're all good. Um, I'm pretty easygoing, Jack. Let's see. Bettina, that is a perfect example that you just said. I keep having to earn my way out of a relationship. I keep having to give someone chances to prove to everyone the situation is toxic and I'm justified in leaving. That is a perfect scenario to go back and revisit this video from the beginning and see if you can find for yourself a belief that makes you think that. Does that make sense? Because if you separate yourself from the relationship for a second and just be you, lovely you, all by your own self, what is it in you that is where's the hook? Do you know what I'm getting at? Where's the belief? Where's the conditioning? Why? Why is this happening? And if you can get to that, like I can tell you my own is I thought forever I just didn't want to be alone. I thought abandonment was my issue. That's my issue, abandonment. That's what it is. I know it. I know that's what it is. Okay. And so that made sense why I'd hang on to a narcissist, right? Like anyone, right? Just hang on. When you've got it, don't let go of it because it's going to run away, right? And so for years, right? Hanging on and like feeling kind of like you're saying, I need to prove that this is bad enough. I need to otherwise what am I doing? Well, as I started thinking about and working with the beliefs, I realized that it was not fear of being alone. It was fear of change. And that took talking through. It took a very intuitive therapist I worked with. It took, like all kinds of workings for me to figure that out, right? But once I uncovered that I'm afraid of change, I thought, am I really afraid of change? It's not that I'm afraid of change. I'm actually not. I'm really adaptable. I'm incredibly adaptable. Look, I go through this relationship that's constantly throwing things on the ground for me to trip over and I dance, right? I can do this. Not afraid of change. Oh my gosh, I just hate it. I just don't like change. I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it. It don't. And so then I realized that I went, "Why don't I like change?" "Oh, because change has always meant something really scary." And then I started crying, and then I released it, right? And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there it is, there it is." And to anyone else, that might not mean anything, right? To me, it was a big shift in my belief. And once I uncovered it without judgment, I was able to work with it so that I could allow change. And so what I did is started looking for change. I started implementing change, not by leaving right away, but by just doing different things, forcing myself to be in the face of change and seeing that it's not a big deal. Okay. And then it was simpler. Anyway, okay. Okay. What do we got here? I'm still a world warrior. I'm not going to stop that because everyone's important. Yes. Dun, dun. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, you guys, if you have anything, hit me up real quick here before we end. I don't want to talk too long today. I feel like half an hour is a good amount of time. Um, Mine is guilt. Oh, this is Bettina again. Mine is, did I say your name right? Yes. Because guilt over feeling like a terrible person for cutting someone off. And I also feel like I put my own care first as if that is wrong. Hmm. Underneath that, what is there? So this is what I do. Like under that, what is there? And obviously I'm not talking to you, so I can't get a good feel for who you are to help you directly. But if you get what I'm getting at, you just keep digging deeper. You just keep unpeeling it. And if you can do it without judging, it is so much simpler. Um, and that's hard when it's guilt because guilt is judging, right? Um, Feeling like a terrible person for cutting someone off, right? Why were you taught that? Was there a belief that you were taught? Was there an experience that you had that created that? Then had it reinforced? You see where I'm going with it? And if you keep going, you just follow the trail. Follow the trail until you you come to a little bit of a different understanding because see, you already know this, right? What don't you know yet? That's where I'm going. What don't you know about it yet that is keeping you in the loop? You know what keeps you in the loop. There it is. But why? Does that make sense? Okay. Um and let's see. We're talking cat food. all the things. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm going to leave you with that unless you've got something more. And I will be back. Oh, what day are we? Thursday already? Oh my goodness. I'll try to come on tomorrow briefly or post a video. I have a SEX video I need to post and I haven't edited it yet. So maybe I'll do that. And not like me, but like about narcissist and the word, right? That I can't say or they'll take away the money. Yeah. So, you're welcome, Belle. It's good to see you. Um, let's see. Anything else? I think we're good. Okay, you guys. So again, if you need help with anything, head over to queenbeing.com. Lots of info over there about narcissists in general, about healing from it, about dealing with it, about yourself afterwards, inspiration, all that good stuff over there. Also links in the main comments to coaching and group coaching if you need it. There it is. You can join at any time. Goes it's a monthly thing, but I prorate it into the next. I do it. Make sure you get what you're paying for. Okay, and then is that it? Hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, all that stuff. Share as you will these videos if you think they're going to help anyone. All that. I will see you guys very soon. If not tomorrow, I'll see you next week. And make sure you head over to Angie's channel. We did a video that I think kind of complements this one well on Tuesday. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye bye. Where's my end stream? There we go.